coming at you live straight off the West Coast, man. Two of the best to do it, man. Big Looney, how are you doing, bro?
Going on, my boy? Just right here chilling, winning and dinning, as we say it on the APA. Thank you for having me on once again, my boy.
Oh, man, you already know, man. It's a great pleasure of mine, man, to have you on Stories Written by a Current Prison, man. Just once again, man. For those of you who haven't already known, man, the homie L has another channel, APA. His Got Knocked Down Original, man. Help him get his subscriber count up. He is close to getting monetized. Run them subscribes up, man.
Appreciate you for that, bro, as always, man.
You know, so we're going to go ahead and get straight to it, L, man. Of course, man, as you know, man, I have been reporting and documenting on some of these homicides that have taken place in the California prison system these past 3 or 4 years already. And it's crazy to say there's already been like 6 or 7 murders, and it's barely the 4th month of 2023, man. But what I would like to talk about, man, is the techniques, the very sketchy ways of taking someone out, man. And I would like to believe that there are somewhat cowardly tactics. You know, when you hit someone from behind, or when they're doing push-ups and you kick them, and then you throw on one of them and you kill them, or they're playing handball and you sneak them from behind and you dope feed them and knock them out. These types of tactics that are being used every single day in the California prison system, to me, I would like to believe that they're cowardly tactics, man. What is your perspective on that, L?
Well, look, if you allow me, bro, I'll convey my perspective by way of a few examples and one in the story. And what I mean by that is this. So, for instance, anybody that has not checked out my video that I did with you, the reason why I went to the other side, they wanted me to overdose my celly. That could be perceived as a cowardly tactic, of course. But let me say this. Just because there's quote-unquote cowardly tactics being employed doesn't mean that these people are not dangerous. No disrespect to the organizations or anybody else out there. We're just talking about man code and on one-on-one, face-up, give the man a chance to fight for his, especially when he's outnumbered. So let me just get that out the way. No disrespect to anybody out there. But they wanted me to overdose them. I didn't want to do it. And then let me tell you the story. I've shared this story on my old channel before it got, knocked down by the haters, but, that's neither here nor there. There was this individual, man, from Southside Chicas, may he rest in peace. Shout out to Southside Chicas. His behavior does not reflect on that neighborhood or anybody else. It's all love. But homeboy he was running up tabs, running up debts, couldn't pay. He had been removed a few times already, and he was a big boy. He was a big boy. He was tall as hell, sturdy, So, if you're going to send anybody towards him, you're going to need some help, So it finally came down that this dude ended up getting into the jam, and he asked one of the señores for assistance. And, the señor from the rancho assisted him, and he went ahead and gave him a gramo so that he could break it down and pay back all his debts. And not only that, but the señor went ahead and he went as far as to let the individuals know that he owed money to the dude from Chicas. He let him know, because in prison, bro, if you're going to be paid back with dope, it's got to be at least double. If you're not going to pay back the money, it has to be double. Most is because otherwise you're not going to accept paper for paper. If I pick up a 50 paper, you can't just give me back my 50 paper and it's a dead squash. No, it has to be at least double if you accept the dope back. Because some dudes are just, dig their heels in and like, nah, bro, I don't want dope back. I want money. That's the agreement. That's what it is. But the señor went ahead and let them dudes know, like, hey, this dude is going to give you paper for paper, and that's the end of it. He exercised his power, and, he did him a huge favor, man. And the dudes had no choice but to accept paper for paper. So, the reason I know this is because, I used to talk to the homie, man, and at one point I was in the Berkeley line with his ass, just getting it, because shit happens. And, he was telling me all this. And I was like, damn, fool, that's good. The señor's helping you, bro. That's good. A good dude, because I used to have my dinners at the señor as well, man. He was a good dude, and so maybe about, I want to say, a week later, I'm on the yard and I see this dude again, and he's like, "Fuck, fool, up. He had a black eye. They had put hands on him inside of the building. And I was like, what happened, fool? He's like, fool, I messed up. I was like, what'd you do? He said, damn, fool. Remember I told you the senor gave me that to pay my debt and all that? I was like, yeah. Man, bro, I did it all. Took it to the neck. I was like, damn. And in my mind, I'm thinking this was done, you know? And so, sure enough, within a day or so, he had already been messed up in there. Actually, he had been removed inside of the building. And he came back, you know, signed a marriage chrono. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically when they ask you if you want to go back to the yard, you got to sign a piece of paper. He signed it. Homeboy had heart. Came back to the yard. But when you do that to a senor, bro, that's a wrap for you. And sure enough, man, that very same yard where he told me that, you know, he went on to tell me, bro, I think they're gonna move on me again. I was like, damn, bro, stay up, you know, just do your thing. He's like, all right, go. I'm gonna go to the burpee line. Goes to the burpee line, starts doing his burpees, doing his thing, whatever. And I'm sitting here watching this dude, right? Because I know that he's in the hot seat, and at any second this dude can get moved on again. And this goes to the core of what we're talking about. The dudes that moved on him did the following. And I told the story on my channel, my last channel, like I said. He was going up and down, doing burpees, up, going down, do a burpee, go up, go down, do a burpee. When he went down to do a burpee, this big dude, he was more fat than actual big, like muscle-wise. But that's a lot of weight. Ran up on him and kicked him square in the face. And like a soccer ball, bro. That fool kicked him so hard, bro, that I felt it, you know. Didn't even give him a chance, homeboy. And it was 3-on-1. And let me just say, make this clear. The reason they were doing 3-on-1s is because the senores didn't really want to stab nobody off the yard because they didn't want to get snatched up and get validated again and be stuck in the shoe again. So they were putting, instead of 2-on-1, they were putting 3-on-1. The third person is the equivalent of a weapon. You know what I'm saying? So they kicked this dude, knocked him out instantly, and for the rest of the minute and a half, 2 minutes, and that's a long time. If you start counting 1 or 2 minutes right now, start counting it right now. And picture somebody getting their head smashed to the ground, stomped. And I'm talking about by a dude at least 275 pounds or more. This was a fat dude that was sitting there just smashing his head into the concrete. And while the other dudes are punching his side, his ribs from the back, you know what I'm saying, as he's laid face down, you know. And I remember thinking, like, wow, man, is this how we're doing it now? You know, like, if that's how you're getting down, like, bro, it's 3-on-1, homie. Like, I get it, you know, the dude, you know, it was deemed a POS, but it's just like, man, as far as I'm concerned, bro, every single highlight that I did, I made sure that I got him from the front, you know. And I recently actually just told this story on my new channel with the homie from Anaheim, my road dog on the yard, and my crimey, it was his first highlight, and he wanted him to pass him so he could hit him from the side. And I agree with it. I was like, yeah, let's do that, whatever. But in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to let that go down. And I rushed the dude from the front. Because if it's already an unfair fight, meaning like 2-on-1 or more, come on, bro. What are we scared of? You know what I'm saying? Like, on a man level, you should at least give him that courtesy, you know? So I just wanted to go ahead and express how I thought about that by way of a story and example, as I told you, Tony. But what do you think about the matter?
You know, me personally, bro, it kind of just sent chills down my spine the way you just kind of explained it. It's very sad to think that a lot of people, up-and-coming Chicanos who idolize this lifestyle, man, and they catch a case and they're willing to do the most for certain entities, and they just sabotage themselves. They sabotage themselves, and they literally get removed in some of the worst ways imaginable. Now, this individual could have died. He could have had severe brain damage. He could have been left in a wheelchair for the rest of his life, all over a $50 piece of paper, rather than make our raza where we're breaking them. And it's just sick, bro. It's just sick. Yeah. Whenever you think about it, it's just sick as hell, bro.
And unfortunately, the homeboy passed away. because nobody could survive. It was brain swelling, and they just couldn't get to him in time. But go ahead.
He passed away?
Yeah, the homie from Chicas passed away. Yeah, and you know what? And that's the part for me, bro, that because usually, bro, every holiday that I had seen, because you know they used to stand two homies with fierros towards you, and for the most part, dudes get you from the front, you know, for the most part. To see this new tactics, at all costs type mentality, that has no honor and respect in it, you know, and of course a lot of them are going to be like, well, he has something coming, so he don't deserve no respect. He don't deserve that courtesy. He don't deserve a heads up or nothing like that. I get it. You know, I was once there. I get it. But still, as a man, on that code of honor, as a man, I'll be damned if I ever get somebody from the back. Maybe, just maybe. Who knows? If it's a one-on-one and the dude's big, you know, you got to get your advantage, you know. I still wouldn't do it because I've been in those situations as well where I got my ass whooped. I rushed a big-ass dude in the front. But I'm just saying maybe on one-on-one I could maybe understand your mentality. But 2-on-1, 3-on-1, et cetera, like, come on, bro. Like, you already outnumbered this dude. Get that dude hit. You know, not too long ago, the homie was a camarada. He is a camarada, you know. And if he stays strong and doesn't check in, he's still part of the clique. So why are you gonna treat him like a piece? In my neighborhood, homie, when you get knocked down, you don't get stomped out. Only pieces get stomped out. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, it's just like, bro, you don't stomp out a camarada, dog, no matter what, you know. And to begin the whole jale by kicking him, it's just all bad. And that kind of just put an extra seed in my mind towards, like, you know what, I'm cool. As soon as a parole, and I was still active at the time. This is on the active yard, you know, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I need to do, handle my business if I need to handle it. But I see where this is going, and it's a wrap, man. These younger generation is just coming up, bro. They don't have no scruples, bro, and they're just working on a different type of mentality, bro, and it's a mentality that I want no part of.
You know, there isn't, you know, him having gone back to the yard, and to me that's foolish. To me that's foolish. He should have checked in right then and there. He should have walked away from the lifestyle. But of course, man, ego. You know, when you're so deeply infested in this lifestyle, man, this is all you know. So I can imagine, you know, his ego got the best of him. He decided to go back to the yard. But in the eyes of the elite, in the eyes of the higher ups, like, wouldn't that be respected? Like, hey, man, this guy just got removed. He just got beat, and he's coming back to the yard. Like, there's any type of way that I can maybe check him again, a little more severe checking, but still salvage his criminal career.
Yeah. It really just depends on the case, but it's like on the case, bro. It's case by case basis. Unfortunately for him, bro, he had done a little too much to go forward, and he had to do too much to turn back, you know. So he just he majorly, you know. But I've seen it happen day in, day out where dudes get dudes from the side or in the back because they try to jump the gun, or at least trying to get that advantage after already having that advantage. But yeah, bro, like, it's a good topic, you know. It's a good topic.
What about slipping handcuffs?
Excuse me?
What about slipping handcuffs? Have you ever seen that happen?
Oh, of course, I've done it myself. And look, so let me tell you another instance. And I was a part of this in New Cork, and I actually told this story on my channel, my old channel as well. And see, while we were handcuffed at the time, this was a sad F in 2009. We kicked it off. It was Cork and Right. Guys, look forward to that video. I'm gonna drop that video again soon. But to keep it concise and short, basically, when we kicked off that riot, the norteños, I mean, respect to the northerners, were so upset at the South for us having kicked it off in that manner, that we used to have a policy in place, like, as long as we're in handcuffs, nobody makes a move. We're in handcuffs, right? But after we kicked it off, we ended up going to medical maybe about a month and a half, 2 months later. And there was this one norteño that slipped his cuffs through the front and attacked. And that was the first instance that we heard that they violated that rule. You know, it's almost like an unspoken agreement. And after that, we got the green light. Get off, put your handcuffs in front, take your handcuffs off no matter what. Whether that dude is in handcuffs or not, it don't matter. Dale gas. And the Norteño, his name was Red. Ironically enough, he was a MAC rep and SADF at the time, and he ended up getting mocked up at two of the camaradas. He was a MAC rep. He had the waist chains on. You know, for those of you that are not familiar, MAC reps when we're on lockdown are able to tour the blocks, but they have waist chains on. And what the black guy did, the cop, the CO, what he did was open up one of the Sureño cells, and the homies jumped off their bunks and ran out there, and you know, he caught the Norteño Red, got the blues, sick, and he was handcuffed, you know, and it's crazy because I don't know what would have happened before then, because they violated the handcuff rule, you know, so they no longer had that courtesy coming either, you know, and it was because they attacked us while handcuffed, you know what I'm saying? And if you could have, because we used to make handcuff keys, brother. For those of you that don't know, on the 180s, we used to make handcuff keys out of inhalers, out of asthma inhalers. We used to break down the aluminum, mold it into a handcuff key, and we used to actually uncuff ourselves. And that's how we used to kick it off with dudes, you know. This dude didn't do that. He still had his cuffs on, so he changed the whole rules of the game, you know. And so, yeah, that's the instance right there that I've seen with handcuffs. After that, everything went, and you don't get that courtesy no more. So even if you're handcuffed, you're gonna get it too. But as far as like the principles and the morals behind that type of deed, like, come on, bro. Like, of course you should let somebody be on the same fighting level as you, no handcuffs, no nothing, or else don't attack. And once again, like I said, to reiterate, that's the trip that we were on. Not to say that Norteños don't have no morals or principles, or they don't have no honor, but I'm just saying at that time we were operating on those type of honor system, and they broke that honor system, at least in that instance, you know. But that's what we were operating on. Fair fight type.
You know, just real quick before we end this little conversation on these cowardly tactics, anybody out there who would like to, drop a little comment, and express what they've seen or what they've experienced, man, please drop it in the comment section. But now that you mentioned the North, man, what is your perspective of everything that has transpired in the past 8 to 6 years, man? With everything, coming together, with the North and South, putting their beefs to the side, Hispanics coming together, man. What is your perspective on everything that's going on?
Well, as you know, bro, I participated in all the hunger strikes. I was hospitalized because of participating in the hunger strikes. I passed out a few times. I think it's a great thing that the end of hostilities, or quote unquote peace treaty, whatever you want to refer to it as. Those of us that righteously went through all that and starved ourselves in order for these individuals to get out the shoe, because they were systematically being warehoused for decades, bro. I think it's a great thing, bro, that for the most part now, the North and the South have an understanding, not only because, of course, they're trying to preserve their empires, but it's a great thing, bro. We're all brown people, when I was sitting there in the cell going at, and as I was sitting there, man, going back and forth with them, eventually, man, it got to the point where it's like, bro, like, we get them, they get us. We're breaking even, and albeit, of course, CDC is never going to release all Sureños and Norteños at one point because obviously we outnumber them, and the fight would have been over, If they were to release all Norteños and all Sureños in the system right now and we're at war, we would win. If they let us go one final battle to the end of time, we would win. Not because the Norteños ain't with the business, not because they don't have fora, not because their food ain't dangerous, but because we have the numbers. You know what I'm saying? But my point of it is this. I'm glad they never did that because those are our brown brothers. No matter how you slice it, there are brown people, there are brown brothers. And that's what finally woke up in my head. Bro, we're sitting here fighting ourselves for the powers that be, of course, no disrespect to them. And we're breaking even. You know, we're breaking even because CDC is never going to allow us to go out there unless we're evenly numbered. And eventually, I grew so much respect for Norteños, bro. Real Norteños, homeboys. The ones that conduct themselves appropriately and don't conduct themselves in any other fashion, even after they are not active no more. The ones that are righteous Norteños. Those are the individuals that I'm talking about. And those are the ones that I grew respect for, that knew what's up, bro. You know, that we used to exchange literature, exchange soups, whatnot. You know, those are the individuals that finally made me wake up. And I think it's a great thing now that the end of hostilities happened and we starved ourselves, because, you know, those wars are nothing like it used to be. You know, unfortunately, the other side, the SNY side or the dropout side or whatever you want to call it, it's the side where there's a lot of volatility and a lot of things happening, you know. And in the mainline now, yeah, you have your murders, and that's the topic of this conversation as far as the tactics and how these fools are getting killed because they're being okey doked. You know what I'm saying? But that, you know, that's always going to happen because of drug debts, whatnot. You know, personal vendettas, political vendettas, what have you. You know, but that's my opinion, bro. I think everything is much better now as far as the racial aspect and situation, and that's the good thing, bro. Even with blacks and other races.
Now, if only if it could trickle into the streets. Now, if only if what's happening inside the prison can actually take effect into the streets, because all these senseless wars and feuds and people that have been dying on record numbers, it's ridiculous, man. But as always, El, man, I thank you for your presence, man. As always, man, it's a great time to have you on, man. For those of you who are out there listening right now, man, please check out his channel. He's been dropping a lot of heat lately, man. I really like that green light video dropped the other day, man. You've been dropping a lot of bangers lately, man. Go ahead and check it out, man. A Prisoner's Awakening.
Appreciate you, bro. And that's just my experiences, dog. And like you said, just to add the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, man, bro, as far as the streets go, the streets is a different animal, my boy, and that's a conversation for a different time. But I appreciate you having me on. I send my respect and my love to all the stories written by her prisoner family. And, yeah, go check out my channel, man. It's all my experiences. You're never going to have no extras, no salsa on the tacos, nothing. It's just always how I experienced it, always with the lesson for the youngsters and the reoffenders, man. Appreciate you, my boy.